Welcome back to the channel. Go Peach, go Peach. You want to potty gear? Yeah, you want to potty gear. First off, let me start off with an apology. I was not able to post a video last week on Friday, and I was hoping that I would be able to post a video on Sunday, but I was also not able to do that. So I'm super sorry that I was not able to do that. Now that my apology is out of the way, a few weekends ago I binge watched Midnight Mass on Netflix, and what made this show especially cool, and I think that it was one of the main reasons that I watched it, was because there was a Cane Corso in the trailer. It made me super happy to see the breed being represented in mainstream media, and it sparked this idea for making this video in which we're going to chat about the history of the Cane Corso. I just thought that it would be really neat if we do a deep dive and just talk about what these majestic dogs were like in the past. So if you're interested to know more about the Cane Corso and its contributions throughout history, keep watching and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Corsos are known to be these impressive and intimidating dogs with gentle and loving personalities towards their family. And to be honest, that is the perfect combination for me. To quote Plato, the disposition of noble dogs is to be gentle with people they know and the opposite with those they don't. And I personally feel like after owning 2 Corsos, that is how they are. You know, they're a very balanced dog. They are outwardly loving with their family, and they're like, I don't know, with strangers. And of course, within the breed, temperament can change and be different, like how it is between Peach and Dante, where she is more social than he is. But generally, that's how they are. Dogs are a product of humans and what we've, taught them to do throughout history. And there is a reason why the Corso is like that. So the word Cane Corso actually translates to guardian dog. The Corsos are part of this subcategory of the Molossus dogs that were bred by the Molossi people from Greece. They were known for breeding these huge Mastiff-like dogs for hunting, and they were known to have a fierce personality. And when Rome invaded Greece, they took some of these dogs and bred them with Italian dogs. And from this combination is where you get the Neapolitan Mastiff and the Cane Corso. Something that a lot of people know Corsos for is how they contributed in Rome. Cane Corsos accompanied Roman soldiers into battle. They were trained to charge information towards cavalry lines with these flaming buckets of oil on them, and the idea was that they would be able to run under these horses and knock the riders out of the horses. Corsos were known to wear armor and these collars with spikes because even though they were in battle, the Roman soldiers wanted them to survive for as long as possible. They were also known to be much larger than the Corsos that we know today. Not only were Corsos used for battle, but they were also used for blood sports as a form of entertainment against other animals or people, as Romans did back in the day. With the fall of the Roman Empire, war dogs weren't in demand. So the Corso then turned into this all-around farm dog. And they weren't your average farm dog either. They were known to actually grab bulls by their horns and incapacitate them on their way to be slaughtered. Corsos were very important for this task because the farmers back then raised these bulls in wild fields, so they weren't considered to be tame animals, and they were actually very dangerous. So the Corsos would not only help in taking them to be slaughtered so that they could be used for beef, but also they would be protecting their owners against these beasts. They also helped in hunting for bears, wild boar, and deer, and most importantly, among all these tasks, they were known to be a guardian dog in the Italian countryside. Specifically in Sicily, they would be used to hunt porcupine, and what I thought was very neat about this is that those particular Corsos that were used to hunt porcupine, for them, the owners would not crop their tails as short as they usually did. They would leave them a little bit longer so that when the Corsos crawled into the dens, the owners were able to pull them back out. So it's very interesting to see how there is a reason for the breed to look the way that it does. There was a function for, you know, ear crops and docking tails as well. There is this one particular Italian artist that I've grown very fond of because I feel like he's very relatable if you're a Cane Corso owner yourself. His name was Bartolomeo Pinelli. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And he made so many depictions and art of Cane Corsos, whether the Corsos were at the forefront or just hanging out in the background. And what I love about his art and about all of his paintings and drawings is that I think that they're a beautiful and very accurate representation of what it's like to have a Corso. I mean, if you look at his pictures, there are some Corsos hanging out with him while he looks to be like he's in a bar. And another one that is like one of my favorites, it looks like he's like having the audacity to fight with this godlike figure while he's with his Corso. So I thought that was very funny too. I feel like it kind of like showed how like having a Cane Corso gives you this like newfound confidence, you know, because they're just such huge and majestic dogs, and like if you train them, they are, you know, so impressive to have. So I really like that painting of him. He has a bunch of other ones of like the dogs hanging out with him, or like depictions of the dogs with this man. I'm not sure if it's him, but I think it is, at a butcher shop, you know, running errands, doing stuff. And he also has depictions of Corsos with bulls, Corsos fighting with each other. And it's really amazing to see how accurate they look. I mean, if you put one of those pictures of the Corsos, there's one in particular of this Corso kind of like laying down with his like ears up. It looks so much like Dante. So I love his paintings. These paintings are referred to quite often when talking about Corsos throughout history. So they are a very accurate representation of what having a Corso is like and what living with a Cane Corso is like. So yeah, you guys should totally check out some more of those pictures. I'll definitely be like popping them up here and there throughout this video, but they're really neat and I think they're awesome. Corso did become this all-around dog. However, war and technology really impacted the breed in a negative way. So during World War I and World War II, a lot of men were drafted, and a lot of these men that owned farms had to leave for war, so they left the Corsos abandoned. And it is also said that a lot of Corsos died during invasions because they would be protecting their property and they would be so fierce that enemy soldiers would kill them. So that contributed to the decline of Cane Corsos, as well as the improvements and technological advances for farming. By the time that everybody was over with the war, there had been so many advances in farming that there wasn't a need to use dogs to do the things that now machines replace them to do. So by the 1970s, Corsos were nearly extinct. However, some Corsos did survive in the very remote parts of southern Italy. And these two guys worked on bringing the breed back. So there is a 16-year-old guy called Stefano Gandolfi. It sounds very much like the wizard Gandalf. And the Malvasi brothers. So together they decided to start reintroducing the breed. The Malvasi brothers, if I'm not mistaken, they were known for breeding German Shepherds, so they knew how to breed dogs, which is why Stefano decided to work with them in reintroducing the Cane Corso. And by 1983, a lot of these people, or the major proponents of recovering the breed, they formed this club for Cane Corsos called Society Amatori Cane Corso, which I think translates to like Cane Corso lovers. That's why it said that if you have a Cane Corso that comes from an Italian line, there is a greater possibility for them to have epilepsy. But that is something that, I mean, it's not really proven. That's what I've seen from what I've read and what I've researched. That is one of the reasons why it could be a possibility. And if you think about it, it does make sense, because if you have such a small genetic pool, it is more likely for those same genes to show up in the offspring. All right, so now that we had some more Corsos in the picture, they start to be shown in dog shows throughout Europe. Then they were officially recognized as a dog breed in Europe, and later on some Corsos make their way over to the US, and by 2010 the AKC recognizes them as an official dog breed. In present day, the Cane Corso is definitely not a war dog. Maybe some people use them for farming, but definitely not at the extent that they were used in the past. But the Cane Corso has become this incredible family guardian. So many people have fallen in love with the breed. Now there's so much information about the breed. There are so many more YouTube channels about it, so many more people that might actually own a Cane Corso, and so many people bringing awareness to the breed. For me, it's really neat to see how Corsos are being represented throughout media. You've probably seen them in football commercials now. I remember seeing them on an Amazon ad and being like, oh my gosh, that's a Cane Corso. Cane Corsos are also in Game of Thrones, or you know, the other show that I mentioned, Midnight Mass. And I don't know what it is, but if you're a Cane Corso owner and you see a Corso on TV, it's kind of like, oh, that's my dog, I have that dog, oh my gosh, I have one too. Like, it's like this very special feeling. What I think is amazing, I think about like Peach, right, and Dante, and how I'm their owner. But I feel like knowing all of what their great ancestors did makes me feel even more like almost honored to own them, just because of all of the contributions they've made for humans. You know, they've literally gone to war with us. They have been trained to be at your side facing death. I think that going through all of their history and seeing how they were so eager to please and so eager to work for their humans just shows you a little bit, you know, of the characteristic of the breed, of how they are so loving and so loyal with their owners, that they're literally like there for anything that you need. They will learn, and they're ferocious and they're fierce. And I think that those are all very beautiful qualities, because they can be like that, but they are so the opposite with their owners. Like, just as ferocious and as fierce as they can be, they are as loving and as gentle with the people and the family that they love. And I think that that is a beautifully balanced dog. I love Pinelli's depictions and artwork of Corsos, because it's almost like I can insert myself in his depictions. And it's really crazy to think that people loved Corsos so much to that extent, the same way that we do now, way back then, you know. It's like he has so many paintings of them, like so many. It's almost like I'm looking through my Instagram feed. If you have any dog, it is your utmost responsibility to give them the best quality of life, you know, and to be a good owner and to put your time in training them. And yeah, it's crazy to think that. And when you think about the Cane Corso in particular, I want to give my dogs the best life, because I know that they would die for me. And I think that knowing that is a bond unlike any other. So yeah, it's really cool. And I don't mean to get sappy, but it's just, it really makes you think. If you don't have a Cane Corso, I hope this gives you a little bit of insight about why we're so crazy about our dogs. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out our merch of Little Dante and Little Peach. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. Bye!